get a doubt? We never get a doubt. We say, yeah, I'm here. I'm right here. And is it only in that moment that we are aware that we are there? Bhagavan is saying, you have a sense of that existence. You know directly all the time, I exist without a break from the time you are born till the time you die. There is never any break in the feeling I am, I exist. Never any doubt. Not even a small bit of doubt. You may get a doubt about all kinds of things. But you will never get a doubt about, do I exist? So that is what Bhagavan is saying. How can you have this certainty? The only one thing for which you need no sensory perception, for which you need no logic, for which you need no documentary proof. You say, let me see if my Aadhaar card is there, then it is me. Otherwise, it might be somebody else called Rekha or Rupa, not Vani. No, that name should be there in the Aadhaar card. Otherwise, it is not me. Do we look for documentary evidence? Do we try to get logic into the picture? Okay, in the morning I was wearing a maroon dress. If I'm still wearing a maroon dress, then it is me. Logic? No. So no sensory perception is required. No documentary evidence is required. Nobody else has to come and say, this is Vani, I know her. Oh, because that person is identifying me, therefore it is me. Nobody else's evidence, nobody else's endorsement is required. No logic is required. Instantaneously, every moment I am aware that I exist. So it is that Bhagavan is talking about. He says, can there be this sense of existence, the sense of certainty that I exist, without something which does exist non-stop? Is reality or consciousness something other than this direct knowledge that you exist? Bhagavan is very, very directly pointing out, I am. The certainty I am, I exist. That is the self. We say, I studied in UEC. If somebody asks me about my professional qualifications, I may say, I passed out from University Visvesvaraya College of Engineering in 1988. You passed out? Yeah, I passed out. No, at that time. And then after that, I worked in such and such a firm for some years, then another firm for some years. Then I started my own consultancy as an architect. Oh, how many years experience do you have? What, 30 years? Really? Yeah. So it was you only who went to the college? It was me. I was probably 30 kgs slimmer. I was probably many years younger, 30 years younger maybe, but it was me. Then if that person says, your body then looked different, probably all the cells in your body have been replaced now. So this body is not that body. When you joined architecture, you didn't know anything about it, but when you passed out, you knew a bit about it. Now after 30 years experience, you may know a little more about it. So the mind is not the same. The intellect, when you joined the course of architecture in an engineering college, it was not capable of making decisions about how to design a building or how a building should be built. But now that intellect is capable of making those decisions. So the intellect is different. So when the body, mind, intellect, all of them have changed, why are you saying continuously, I went and studied in that college, I worked in that particular firm, I have been practicing, I designed that building. For whom? About whom are you saying I continuously? So we are doing a superimposition whenever we say I in different contexts where it cannot be, where the body has changed, mind has changed, intellect has changed, experience has changed, my way of looking at things has changed. But I am using the same pronoun I. It is not only it is not only about linguistic expression, not just because of language. But I am referring to something that does not change. Within me, this feeling of continuity. I did this, I am doing the same I is doing it right now. So that continuity is coming only because of the self. So I am superimposing the body, mind, and intellect on the self. I am pointing to the changeless I, but I am talking about the changing I, the small I. The body which has a birth and death, the body which is subject to aging, subject to disease, subject to change. It can become slim, it can become fat, it can get bent with age, it can be very hale and healthy. I'm talking about the mind. Mind can be happy, it can be sad, it can be bored, it can get excited. I'm talking about the intellect. The intellect may analyze really well, sometimes it may not be able to analyze well. Sometimes it is so clear, sometimes it is so confused. So I'm talking about these changing entities, but I'm pointing to the changeless self. Whenever I say I did that and I am doing this. So 1 hour ago I was different. Already so many cells have died in my body. Already so many thoughts have come and gone. I was in a good mood then, now I may not be in such a good mood. So my mind, intellect, body are continuously changing. Whereas myself never changes. So Bhagavan is saying there is this self which never changes, which is why when you say I, you feel you are pointing to the same entity. Even when you are talking about the ever-changing body, mind, and intellect. The second line, since that reality dwells thought-free in the heart and is itself named the heart, how can it be meditated upon? So here there are first thought-free. When we meditate, or sometimes we are listening to beautiful music, or we have gone up a tall hill, and after the strenuous climb, we are looking at the view. How many thoughts are there in the mind? Absolutely quiet for some time. So this silence is the background. It is always there, and thoughts are getting superimposed on the silence. So even when we think, the silence is always there. Even when we think, the witness who is aware of the thought is always there. Whether you think or not, the witness is ever present. And this witness, the innermost being, is named the heart. When your mind is quiet or in a state of deep sleep, how many entities are there? Are there two entities? Seer and seen. Is there somebody who is seeing and some object that can be seen? In the waking state, there is seer and seen. I feel I am the subject. My thoughts are objects if I don't identify with them. All the things around me, people around me, they're all objects which I am seeing. So seer and seen. That duality is there in the waking state for most of us. In the dream state also, seer and seen may be there. In the dream, I feel I am different. I am an entity called Vani, and other things in my dream are not me. But on waking up, I understand my mind was taking the form of everything in my dream. But in deep sleep, there is no thing. If you ask somebody, asks you what was there in your deep sleep, on deep sleep, there was nothing. What can be there in deep sleep? But in deep sleep, there was no thing. You are right. There was no thing. No body mind, no intellect, no world. There was only I, only the subject. So when there is only the subject, when there is only one, who can meditate upon whom? Is what Bhagwan is asking. The thought-free state is permanent. It is always there. Thoughts are superimposed. They are intermittent. They come and go. And there is actually only one thought-free entity, and that is the self. The third line, and who is there distinct from it? The self, whose nature is reality, consciousness, to meditate upon. So there is nothing which is not the self. There is only the self. Even this waking world, this entire waking world that we see, even this body, mind, and intellect, is only a manifestation of the self. It is only a appearance on the screen, like a movie. The screen is constant. Different movies are projected on the screen. The movie comes and the movie is over. The movie starts and the movie finishes. So, know that to meditate on it, it is the self. Know that to meditate on the self is to be one with the self in the heart. So there are many synonyms here. Self, it, sat, existence, reality, consciousness, heart. All of them are synonyms. They're all the same thing. So don't get confused. All this is nothing but the self. All of them, all these words are pointing only to Sat or the self. So this is a story from Chandogya Upanishad. It is said that once Prajapati, the creator of the universe, he made an announcement to the demons and the gods. He said, the self is sinless. When there are no two, there can be no sin, no merit, right? When there is only one, only when you hurt somebody else, there is a sin. When you do something good for somebody else, there is a merit. But when only one entity exists, there can be neither sin nor merit. So he said the self is sinless, it is ageless, and it is deathless. The self has no sorrow, hunger, or thirst. So it is this self that has to be sought. The one who seeks the self and knows it gets possession of all the worlds and wins all that is desirable. So the minute he said this, both the demon king Virochana and the king of the gods, who is the king of the gods? Indra. So both of them said, we want to gain possession of all the worlds. We want to get everything that is desirable. Therefore, let us go to Prajapati and learn from him what this self is. So they went to Prajapati, and Prajapati said, okay, so stay with me for 32 years. 32 years they stayed there, they learned, they did Guru Seva. So after 32 years, Prajapati said, that which appears in the pupil of your eyes, that is the self or Brahman. So take a pan of water and you look at yourself. in that pan of water, and you see, what is it that you see? So they saw, and they saw their own reflections. Then Prajapati said, dress up in your best clothes, wear jewelry, and then once again look. So they did that. And they said, and Prajapati said, what did you see? So Indra and Virochana said, we saw something which looks just like us, beautiful, smart, well-groomed, so handsome. So Prajapati said, that is the self. And both of them went away. So Virochana went and taught the demons, this body is the self. And Indra went, he thought, okay, now I have to tell the gods what I learned. But how can this body be the self? This body keeps changing. Prajapati said it is ageless, deathless. Body changes, body has sorrow, hunger, thirst. So it can't be the body. So he went back. And Prajapati said, welcome, I'm glad you got the doubt. Stay with me for another 32 years. So 32 years passed, and Prajapati said, that which roams about in your dream, that is the self. So Indra went, halfway he got a doubt. In my dream, I feel happy also, I feel sad, I become sick in my dream. So how can that be the self? Then he came back. 32 more years. At the end of 32 years, Prajapati said, that which is changeless in your deep sleep, that is the self. So Indra is stepped out of his ashram, he is going on his way to meet the gods. Then he says, but in deep sleep, yeah, it is true there is only one. It is true there are no two in my deep sleep. But in deep sleep, I am not aware that I am that. It's true, I feel infinite. I don't feel any limitations. I feel very peaceful. But I am not aware that that is myself in my deep sleep. So he came back and he said, I am not satisfied with this. So Prajapati said, very good, 32 more years. Then he said, that which is powering, which is the substratum to your body, mind, and intellect, to this entire creation. It is the body, yet it is not just the body. It is the world, yet it is not just the world. The world is Brahman, your body is Brahman, but Brahman is something much more than all this. Everything exists in the self. Everything is the self. But the self can exist without any of this. Self is immortal. It is always there. That is the self. So when he heard this, Indra was completely satisfied. So he went back to the gods and he said, I have learned what the self is. By understanding the self, you understand everything because it is the self that is everything. So in that sense, you understand everything when you understand the self. When you abide in the self, you get everything because everything is the self. Therefore, you get everything. So he shared this wisdom with the gods. So then, just look at this gif. Now you see there is a girl who is shaking a glass. So when a glass moves, now I have this glass with me. If you look at my picture for a moment, which is next to the presentation, I think. If you move this, if I move this glass, there is space inside the glass, right? So does the space in the glass move with the glass, or does the glass move in space? I'll just say that question again. Does the space in the glass move with the glass? That means there is one space in the glass which does not change at all, and as I move the glass, that space moves along with the glass, or is the glass moving through space? It is the glass moving through space, right? Space remains where it is. Space is everywhere all the time. So when I move an empty glass through space, the glass is moving in space. The space in the glass is not moving. But we have a illusion in the mind, the space in the glass is moving. So like that, the self is everywhere all the time. But why are we asked to look inward? Why are we asked to introspect? Why are we asked to meditate? Why are we asked to do self-inquiry? Why are we asked to focus on the heart? When the self is everywhere, that means it is there in this computer, it is there in this mobile, it is there in this body. It is there everywhere. So why can't I see the self in all the things around me? And why can't I see it in my own body, mind, and intellect? Why do I have to search inside? So these are some examples to help us to understand why. Now, sunlight, if you go out in the daytime on a sunny day, you go into the garden, sunlight is everywhere, isn't it? It is illumining the entire world. It is falling on the trees, on the plant, on the grass, on me. But if I take a piece of paper with me and I want it to catch fire, sunlight has light and heat. So if I want that piece of paper to catch fire and burn, if I just wave it in the air like that in sunlight, will it catch fire? It won't. So what should I do? I'll take a magnifying lens and I focus the sunlight rays onto that piece of paper. If I tilt it at the right angle and I hold it, then the paper will catch fire. So in the same way, though the self is everywhere all the time, I need to recognize it. So for me to recognize it, it is easy if I look inwards, if I look at the heart, if I go to the space where there are no thoughts, where there is a feeling, where I understand that there is complete continuity, where I abide as the self, then it is easy for me. Once I see it inside, I will see it everywhere outside also. But unless I see it inside, I cannot see it outside. I will see only plurality. I will only see all these different objects existing around me, which are different from me. But when I see I am the self, automatically I see the self in everything around me. Now, another example, milk. Milk is a common thing to us. We drink milk, we make coffee, we make tea, we make curds. Now, where is the butter in the milk? If a child comes and asks you, grandma, grandpa, or mama, papa, where is the butter in this milk? You said butter comes from milk. Then we have to tell the child, no, butter is everywhere in the milk. No, but I can't see it. Hey, bacha, it is there everywhere. You can't see it, but it is there. Will the child be satisfied? No. But run the same milk in the mixer for some time. Then what do you see? The butter separates out, the fat separates out from the milk and it floats. Then you can say, see, can you see butter? Ah, yeah, yeah, it is butter. So can you see where did this come from? Came from the milk, right? I just had to churn it. So that is why we need the self-inquiry. That is why we need to go inwards with self-inquiry. Though the self is everywhere all the time, though everything is a manifestation of the self, we don't recognize it, we don't realize it, we don't see it unless this churning happens. So once the churning happens, then we see the self inside and we see it everywhere. So now we see in this picture there is a boulder, a huge rock. In the rock, if I say, Somebody, if you ask a Vedantin, a scholar, what is the self? It is Sat, Chit, Ananda. What is Sat? Sat is existence. What is Chit? Chit is consciousness or the awareness that I exist. I am. I is existence. Am is consciousness. So does the rock have consciousness? Consciousness comes from the mind, right? So unless I have a mind, I cannot be aware that I exist. My body exists. But to know that I exist, I need my mind. So a rock or any inanimate object, it has a very rudimentary level of mind, almost not there. Therefore, in the rock, we see Sat, we see existence. The rock exists, the ocean exists, the sky exists. So predominantly we see the dimension of Sat or existence. Then if you look at a tree is a live object. Yes, it doesn't walk around, but it moves. When the wind blows, it moves. The leaves fall, the leaves grow back. Flowers sprout from a tree, flowers turn into fruits. So there is a lot of change happening in the tree, which we can see. So in a tree, we can see Sat and Chit. There is consciousness for us visible, perceptible. Consciousness is everywhere, but in an inanimate object, it is not very perceptible to us. In the plant kingdom, it starts becoming perceptible to us. Then animal kingdom. Animals can also move around. They can think to some extent. They make noises, they communicate with each other, they have love, they have anger, they have fear. So all this, in addition, it is all there. So we see Sat and Chit, they know that they exist, right? So Sat and Chit we see also in animals. Then we come to human beings. As we know of now, human beings have the best developed mind. In all the animal kingdom, human beings have a highly developed mind, highly developed intellect. So, Sat, we exist. All the time we are aware that we exist. Whenever we go into deep sleep, we also experience infinitude. We also experience Ananda. But we don't know that is our true nature. And because of this continuous overlay of thoughts over the substratum of the self, we are identifying with these thoughts, we are identifying with these self images, we are identifying with this body, mind, and intellect. Because of that, this Ananda, the concept of I will not say concept, the truth of my infinite eternal nature is hidden from me by this continuous layer of thoughts with which I am identifying. The thoughts themselves are not the problem. My identifying with them. The body is also a thought. The mind is a bundle of thoughts. The intellect is thought. The world is thought. So continuously I am identifying with these thoughts, which is why I have forgotten my true identity. So this Ananda, Sat and Chit, always there. I am. I is existence, am is consciousness. I am always aware that I exist, but I have forgotten my infinitude. I have forgotten the bliss. I have forgotten the eternal nature of my existence. So that will only be revealed to me. It already exists, but it will be revealed to me when I go through self-inquiry, when I introspect, when I again and again I go back and abide in the truth of my nature, then it will be revealed to me. So for today, we will complete here. just a sample of how the same shloka in Tamil sounds. I will just recite this in Tamil. I'm not a Tamilian. I don't have a good Tamil accent, but just for us to get the flavor of the Tamil shloka, this one time I will be just reciting this shloka. உள்ளதல உள்ள உள்ளதளதுள்ள உணர் உள்ளதோ உள்ள பொருள் உள்ளலர உள்ளத்தே உள்ளதாய் உள்ளமெனும் உள்ள பொருள் உள்ளலெவன் உள்ளத்தே உள்ளபடி உள்ளதே உள்ளல் உணர்வாயே. So உள்ளது is reality or existence. You can see how beautifully Ramana Maharshi has alliterated. The same ulla keeps on coming again and again, and it means different things in different contexts. So Narpada, as I said earlier, is 40 shlokas on reality. So let us just take a couple of minutes to do the I am meditation. Just 2 minutes. Please close your eyes. Allow your mind to relax. Every time we go into meditation, we have to go with a fresh understanding of our true nature. So, through Bhagavan's grace, we have just received this understanding of our true nature through the first invocatory shloka. I am Sat. I am the Self. I am infinite. I am eternal. I am bliss. Just be aware that you exist. I am. Right now, wherever you are, you know that you exist. Very, very simple. Don't try to complicate it. Very simple, direct experience, knowledge that you exist. Just stay there. This is called abiding. Firm abidance requires complete conviction. So right now, we are not wondering whether it is firm or not. We are just abiding. Just hanging in there where you know that you exist. That's all. If your mind wanders, bring it back by maybe just bring it back to the witness, or just say I am. Bring it back to the knowledge that you exist. You can do this anywhere, anytime, for any length of time. Let us offer our pranams to the lotus feet of Bhagwan Sri Ramana for the amazing wisdom that we are receiving from him. May his grace keep this awareness ever alive and turn it into a blazing light.